Alright, what's up everyone? We're back with another metal detector review. I know, it's back-to-back reviews all of a sudden, but people just keep sending us metal detectors. And this time we have GoGonova. I haven't even opened the box. I don't know much about this metal detector. I did look it up. It says for kids and adults, but I'm sure that it's a full length, so it's just fine for adults. It's going to be a starter machine. It's for beginners and kids. At the time of the filming, I think this is on Amazon for like $79, and then there's a coupon code you can clip for 20% off. So we're going to open this together, and we'll unpack it, put it together, and then I'll show you how it works. Then we're going to air test, and we're going to take it out in the field. We got a good spot to take this to today, and we're going to use it for real. All right, we're opening this together. I haven't even taken a peek in here. We are, by the way, in my cousin Dusty's shop because he lives close to the ranch we're going to go to. So we're going to unbox this in here. So this is what we're looking at so far. We're going to get the instruction manual. This is it's a case and your batteries, so it comes with batteries. This machine apparently is a 2 9-volt batteries. This is going to be your middle rod. Got the control housing. Got your arm cuff. It comes with headphones, and I believe these have the volume control. Yes, they're going to have the volume control in line, so that's good. What else we got in here? We have, we got the grip, and it looks like we got a digger. Alright, yeah, we have, okay, so this is a smaller version of the old military style diggers where you have the pick or the shovel. Handle screws in. That way you can break it down, it's easier to carry. So we'll put all this together in just a second. And last thing in the box is your coil. And we're looking at an 8-inch coil. Alright, so we're going to lay this out, see what we got here, and we will put this together. Alright, so we got everything laid out here. I've showed y'all how the shovel goes together. You just screw the handle together, and you can screw this up to make it a shovel, or unscrew it, flip it around to make it a pick. And that's how the digger works. And we're going to lay this aside for now so we have more room. That was a carrying bag after I unfolded it. That's definitely what that is. To store your metal detector and your other digging gear. Let me get that out of the way. Alright, so when you're assembling these metal detectors, let's get rid of these two. We're not going to use headphones today. That way y'all can hear what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and put these back in the box. But before we do, this is straightforward. When you use your headphones, they're just going to plug in to the front right here. But like I said, we're not going to use headphones today so y'all can hear what we're doing. Alright, so you're going to take your middle shaft and the lower rod, and we're going to put the coil on. Just a simple wing nut. Alright, now I'm going to show y'all this is your first tip. As we put this together and as we go along with this video, I'll try to throw in things I think that will help a beginner. Once we get this assembled, we're going to wrap the coil wire, and you always start over the rod. You never start with your wire hanging under, because if it gets loose and it flops around at the back of this coil, it could give you false reading. So just remember that when we wrap the coil wire, we're going to go over. All right, so now that we've talked about the coil wire, we're going to put on the grip, which is basically the upper rod. And these have what they call a spring clip. And that does help lock this in. Kind of second to the cam, you just turn it to the left, now it's tight. And I'm going to go ahead and put the arm cuff on before I put the control housing on. So the arm cuff just has a thumb nut, and you'll have two adjustments. So like if this was going to be put together for a youth, you'd probably push it all the way in. An adult's probably going to have it out here. But I'm just going to see, because I'm kind of small, I might need the kid size. So we're going to go in all the way for me. Put your thumb nut through the hole. Alright, so now we have all of the upper, lower, and middle rod put together. The detector has two battery compartments on the bottom. And like I said, it's two 9 volts, which it came with. Get your batteries in. And this control housing is going to have the same setup as your arm cuff. It's just going to have one of the thumb nuts. We're going to take it out. Oh, it don't come out. Okay. So it's got a retaining clip, so you don't have to worry about losing it. All right, now that we got our batteries in, this grip and the control housing have some reference pins. So you're going to put it on. Let's see if we can get this on camera. Like so. And then you slide it forward and that locks it, but then you're going to go ahead and tighten up your thumb nut and that will secure it. And then you just peel off your screen protector and we're ready to do the coil wire. And like I said, start over the top and just wind it up. And it simply plugs into the back of the machine right like so. And this is the way it should look. You don't need a lot of slack in your cable. You got this tight, and the adjustment is the same as this. Really doesn't adjust. It might go to the next one if you wanted to. I think it will make it to the next adjustment so that you could shorten it here, but mostly you're going to take your length out by loosening this one, and then you have another spring clip and you can make this longer, but this is about the right size for me. So this is where we're going to leave it. We've got it together. So we're going to turn this thing on. I'm going to show you how this thing operates, and then we'll do some air testing. All right, so we got this thing together. We got our test sticks out, my homemade paint stick, stir stick test strips, and we're going to go through the operation of this machine. And don't worry, it's not that complicated. This machine is fairly straightforward to use, so let's get started on that. So power button, you turn it on. It's going to go through its self-test, and then we're at the screen that you will see when you're operating it. So on this machine you have sensitivity, and the way that operates is every time you push it, it'll just cycle through the different sensitivity levels. So you got 1, 2, 3. Now, why would you want to ever lower sensitivity and not just hunt with max sensitivity? So what you'll find sometimes if you get near power lines, you're going to have to dial this back. And so you want to hunt as high as you can get it without it getting erratic and just giving you a bunch of false signals. And you'll know because you won't even be moving the machine and it'll start going off. If you've got interference, turn your sensitivity down. We got none in here. I've already checked it. So we're going to go with max sensitivity. The next button you have is your backlight. You can turn it off if you don't want to use the backlight. We're going to use it obviously for the demonstration so you can see what you're doing. All right, so the last one you have is discrimination, and that controls these 4 icons, and these are the sections of the machine that are geared towards certain metals. So down here you'll have coins, and then in here in the middle you start getting your brass and your pull tabs, and then down here you're going to get your low conductors. And the way you cycle these is the same way as with sensitivity. You can take off nails and screws, or you can take off nickels and pull tabs and zinc and brass, and you could just leave on silver if you just wanted to hunt coins. So this is tip number 2. I would recommend turning on everything as you learn to metal detect and listen for the low conductors, because if you get used to listening to iron, even though you're not going to dig it, you need to know when you're getting into a patch of iron. So if it's just driving you crazy in the beginning, I would rather you go ahead and turn it off so you don't get discouraged, and just start with nickels and up. So you'll notice I'm going to go ahead and do a little air test real quick, and then we'll get back to air testing, but I'm going to show you what these look like. So if you go over a pull tab, you'll see it also shows rings. That's because rings and pull tabs read the same. So if you discriminate out pull tabs, you're going to miss gold rings, and there's just no getting around it. You want rings, you got to dig pull tabs. So the only thing we haven't talked about is on the screen is your depth, and then obviously battery. So when your batteries get low, this will go down. And I'm thinking, now I'm not positive, I didn't look up the specs, but normally a machine that's running on 9-volt batteries, you're going to get, especially a machine running on 2 batteries, 2 9-volts, you're going to get 30, 40 hours out of this thing, I would guess. So on the depth, the deeper it is, the more these bars light up going down. So if it's real shallow, you're just going to get the top bar. If it's deep, it's going to light all these up. Now if you hit like a can or something, you get over a shallow can, it's going to show overload in this corner. And that'll help you determine if you're about to dig a can or something. And that is the basic operation of this machine. And now we'll get into air testing, and I'm going to give you some more tips and tricks if you're a beginner, stuff that's very important. All right, we're going to demonstrate a few sample targets so you can kind of get an idea of what this screen's going to show you. And we'll look at recovery speed, which is something I wanted to mention without getting too in depth, but it's what I was saying was very important, especially if you're just starting out. You kind of need to know this, even though it's getting a little more advanced, the topic is. So we're going to start out with a quarter, and it should light up this end icon. So let's scan this quarter. All right, so we got, it's identifying the quarter. And then if we get something mid-range, it should light up one of the 2 in the middle, so we'll go with a bullet. And also I want you to listen. This machine has 3 different tones, and that really helps to identify targets without even looking at the screen. You can just listen. So you got a high tone for your quarters, and anything that's going to fall into this end range, and then you have a mid-tone for these 2 middle sections, and then for iron, it's just going to give you a low kind of a grunt. And that's why I say it's not that annoying, if you will, to leave your iron on so you know when you get into it, because it's just a totally different tone. So let's try mid-tone. So you got a bullet, it's lighting up silver. This may be too high of a, let's go with something a little lower conductive. So now you got the zinc, and like I said, you can't skip pull tabs if you're going to miss rings. So let me show you what iron sounds like on this. So nails, stuff you wouldn't want. So you can hear that low grunt, and if you're hunting in all metal, then you will at least know when you're getting into a patch of nails, and that means you kind of need to start picking through the targets. And that is where we get into recovery speed, and I'm gonna try to explain it without getting too in depth. So when you're just starting out, you're watching videos, you're reading books, and you keep hearing these detectors say you need to slow down, slow down. And that really, what they mean is the forward movement. Like when you're walking, don't go too fast forward. It doesn't mean to sweep this coil really slow, because these machines, they have to be moving to work. You can't just walk around and just hold this over a target. So let me demonstrate real quick. So you can't just, it's not just going to go off on a target. You have to be moving. So on recovery speed, without getting too in depth, it's like when you're discriminating out something you don't want to hear, the metal detector is not just being quiet over that target. It's literally pulling the volume down. Like you're at a baseline, and then it pulls it down into the null, and when it passes that target, it lets go. And that's why you sometimes get overshoot on targets you don't want. They'll give you a beep, but that's only going to be one direction. So that's trash, and you get that blip and these kind of a smeared beep, but it's only one direction, and that's how you know when you're supposed to dig and not dig. What you want is targets that beep both directions. And that's when you dig, and that is something that you need to keep in mind. To keep from getting discouraged, you need to know when to dig and where to dig. And we'll talk about pinpointing when we get out in the field. That's how you figure out where you're going to dig. If you start digging holes this big for 1 penny, you're going to get discouraged, and it's going to go in the closet. You need to practice your pinpointing and recovering these targets with the smallest hole as possible. Now, back to recovery speed. So when they're talking about slowing down, like I said, it's your forward movement. It's not your swing speed. But on these, I'm not going to say lower end, these beginner machines just don't have the circuitry like a high-end machine. You just can't have that in a $70 to $150 price range. You can't get that kind of processing power for that kind of money, but they're fine. You just got to, you do have to slow down your swing speed a little. You can see that right there. And that's pretty fast. You can't, I mean, you can swing pretty fast without losing, but this isn't like a, say, a Mine Lab Equinox or a XP Deus. But that is recovery speed, how fast it can recover after that target goes past the coil. So you have to keep them moving, and on these lower end machines you need to just slow down a little bit on your swing speed. But again, the part about going slow is don't move in a forward path too fast, because then you're making a sawtooth pattern, and everywhere in that V, because you went like this, is you could be missing stuff. All right, so we're about done on the air test. We're about ready to take this out and use it for real, but let's look at about how deep these machines go. So if we'll come around here, I've got this is a 1962 silver quarter. So you're gonna get, you're looking at about 4 inches in the air. Now in the ground, when this stuff has been in the ground for years and years, it's going to make a halo. You're probably going to get 6 inches on this thing. And that's plenty deep if you're just starting out, because like I said, you don't want to be digging giant holes trying to locate, say, a penny or a pull tab, because if you do that, you're going to get discouraged. And the name of the game is to stick with it. So 6 inches may seem shallow to some, but if you're just starting out, it's going to be fine. It's the same with recovery speed. The circuitry, they can't build circuitry for $100 or $80. You got to sacrifice something somewhere. But if you're just starting out, this is gonna be fine. So we're gonna pack this up. We have a place down the road from here, and that's why we're doing this in Dusty's shop, because there's a ranch down the road, and it has an old house site on it that's been bulldozed, and no one's ever hunted it. So we're going to take this out there, and that's when I can demonstrate how to pinpoint your targets, and we'll just use this thing in a real life situation. All right, so we have brought y'all to a old house site. It's been raised or bulldozed. You can see the rock pile from the old foundation and footings, and even when they tore this down, supposedly they rebuilt, and that's the White House, and that White House was built in the 20s or 30s. So this area right here is going to be old. Now on these house sites, there is tons of trash, and you have to pick through it, because as these houses start to fall down, their tin roofs come off, their gutters, there's farm equipment, there's nuts, bolts. So they're not quite as fun as you might think, but the good stuff is here if you'll pick through it. Now, one thing is we're not going to use the shovel that came with this, because eventually you're going to want to upgrade to something more like a long-handled digger that's dedicated for detectors. It's made for us. And that way that's less stooping and bending. Also, you're going to want to get a trash pouch. Hopefully you'll put more treasure than trash in it. And then I like to use a pinpointer and get a good one. Don't get a knockoff, because they just don't work. So if you're just starting out, this is going to help you locate your target in your hole faster. And now we're going back to what I said earlier. You got to know when to dig and where to dig. So if you can find out where to dig quick, you're going to get less discouraged. The faster you get that target out of the ground, the faster you can go to the next one. So now we're going to go through here. We're going to start hunting with this. I've got full sensitivity because we got no power lines out here. And I'm going to go with all the discrimination turned on. I'm gonna get everything, or turned off, and we're gonna see what we can get. So this is what I was talking about. If we start scanning, you're gonna start hearing all that iron, and if it's too annoying, go ahead and turn it off. But if you can get used to listening to it, you know you're getting into, say, a house site. And then when you're swinging, you don't want to do this number. You want to keep your pull level, like this. And with this machine, that's about the right speed. And you just kind of inch forward, and you're looking for that tone, a mid-tone or a high tone that goes both directions of your swing. Now once we find something, we'll go over pinpointing, but for right now, this is how you swing. This is about the speed you want to be going. You got to keep this thing moving. And we're just going to go around, and we're going to look for a high tone. Now, remember what I said about recovery speed. So that's when you have a baseline audio that you can't even hear. And when this detector goes over trash or something it knows you don't want, it pulls the audio down. It's not just being quiet. And then when it lets go to go back to the baseline, that's where you get that overshoot. That's why I say you'll only get a tone one direction. So you want your tone both direction. That's when to dig. And once we find something that we can pinpoint, I'll show you how to figure out where to dig. So we're going to go around here for a minute, and when we get a decent signal, because there's not just stuff laying everywhere, we're going to find something and we'll dig it live. Alright, so we got a target, and I apologize if the wind gets up. It may be hard to hear, but so this one is reading like it's in the upper range, like a coin. And you can hear I'm getting this both directions. So this is something you want to dig. This is what you're looking out for. Now, to figure out where you want to dig, what you're going to do is you're going to make a kind of an X pattern. And you're going to go like 2 different directions and kind of narrow in. Now, when you can swing this machine and get it the shortest swings and still get double beeps, you're getting in to exactly where you need to dig. So see how short those swings are? And then you can tell I had to move over just a little bit. So I'm going to say, and when you pinpoint, it should be in the middle of this coil when you finally narrow it down on your X swing. So I'm going to say this is going to be right here. It's not going to be very deep, so we're just going to cut a little plug. And I can already see it. So I'm not sure what it is. Let's take a look. All right, it's some kind of nut for plumbing or something. But you can see how small of a hole that I had to dig. It was just 1 scoop. It's proper pinpointing is going to get this stuff out of the ground quick for you. Now let's say that it was still in the hole and I wasn't sure if I missed it because I'm just starting out. So you get your pinpointer out and you just zero and you say, oh, okay, it's on this side of the hole over here. And there you go. So we're going to keep on looking with this machine and see if we can't find a keeper. All right, it's been like 60 seconds and we've gone like 10 yards and I've isolated another, it's saying it's in the coin range. You can see, you can hear the high tone. So remember, we want to get this tight X pattern. And you can kind of get an idea of the size of the target by how small of a swing, short of a swing, you can get that signal in both directions. So I'm going to say it's going to be roughly somewhere right in here. Now when you're digging your target, and I'm giving y'all beginner tips because I'm assuming you're just starting out, or maybe you bought this machine and you're just wanting to learn to use it. So my tips are very basic, but once you pinpoint, you want to dig on the back side or away from it because you don't want to dig straight through a nice silver coin. All right, so you can, I think that's it right here on the side of this hole. I think it's just a piece of junk, but you're going to find lots of it. I'm not sure that's it. Let's see. Okay, that's not it. So let's use our pro pointer. Still in the hole. Alright, so I can see some brass in here. If y'all want to come around, take a look. I think we got us an old water faucet, basically. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. So the brass is why we got the high tone and the size. Alright, I hope this wind ain't too much. I want y'all to listen to how much iron is out here. We've got another signal located, but getting to that signal, just listen to the trash. So you got iron, iron, iron. See, you get those one-way blips, that's that overshoot. Then you get over here, there's that high tone. We come back, we get it both directions. And you just narrow down your swing till you get it nice and tight. And we're going to dig right here. Sounds like I got it in the plug. So we know it's up. Let's get down here and see what we found. Alright, so this is going to be an old Budweiser can. It happens. You're not going to dig treasure right off the bat. You got to dig a lot of trash. Always fill your holes, but I'm sure that's obvious. Alright, so we've got another high tone here, and like the last can, I'm going to show y'all a trick that might help you determine if you're about to dig a can or a large piece of sheet tin or something big. Now when you get more advanced, when in doubt, dig it out. Don't leave nothing behind if you even doubt it. But in the beginning, let's try to get you finding good stuff early on. So you're going to do a little cherry picking, and you may want to skip a few iffy signals so that you stay motivated. That's the ticket, is to stay motivated. But once you get more advanced and you can recover targets quick, then it's okay to dig junk signals just to make sure, because it's no sweat. You can get them out of the ground like that, check them out, move on. But on this one, now it's because I can't really tighten up this swing, I think it's something large like a can. So if you hold that machine up, now we know this thing only goes about 6 inches, and I've got this thing like 8 inches off the ground, plus however deep that signal is. So I'm thinking this is going to be something big, large, probably another can, a piece of sheet tin or something. So I was right, it is, yep, it's another can. So that was a little trick. If you think it's something big, go ahead and raise it up, and if it's farther than your depth that you normally get, and you can still get it, it's probably something big. Alright, let me show y'all this signal. This is kind of an iffy signal, but it is repeatable, so this is something you might want to check out. So it's a mid-tone, but see, you're starting to get a little bit of that static and grunt. So what you may have here is something good laying next to a piece of iron or a nail. But since I can get it to repeat, at least in the upper and mid-tone range, it's repeatable, so we're going to dig it. Even though it's a little bit of a squirrely signal. So right there, we're getting it to repeat, so it's probably a big piece of junk, but this is one of the ones you want to investigate. Just in case it's something good laying next to something junky. So it sounds like we got it up. We're going to go ahead and get the pin pointer out to save time. Alright, so this is why you get two different signals. You got the brass eyelet on a fishing weight, so you kind of get that brass and the lead. So this was definitely a target worth digging, because this could have been a ring, and apparently there's some iron in there, and that's why we got the iron tone, we got the high tone, and the mid tone all jumping around. So that was definitely worth investigating. So here's a signal where we're going along. You got some iron, and then here comes that high tone. So we're going to narrow it down. And kind of pick it right out of that iron. Whatever's over here is junk. And there's something fairly close that is giving us the high tone, the coin range. Oh, so I missed it. Go around this side. We'll take one more scoop. If it don't come out, we'll get the pin pointer out. Okay, it looks like it came up right over here on the edge somewhere. I think this is it. so this is an old mason jar lid. So, is there a jar underneath it full of coins? I don't see any broken glass. Let's make sure the hole is empty. All right, we got it. It's just the lid, unfortunately, this time. All right, we got another high tone here. Got some iron back here. Hear it? But as I was coming up, headed that direction, there comes that tone that we all know and love. So we're going to go ahead and dig it. And I don't know, that looks like a toy car from here, or part of one. What is, no, okay. Well, I saw that yellow, it kind of looked like that. Oh, that's part of a license plate, an old one. There is the number 5. And it was Texas, there's the XA. So that's part of a Texas license plate. All right, I want y'all to listen close. This is how you pick the good stuff out of the trash. So you heard you can hear the iron, and then we got that beep. So what you want to do is just slow down and find out where you can repeat that high tone. We're getting iron all around this signal, but we can isolate this one high tone. All right, we're gonna go right here. I'm hooked on something. I hope it's not. Oh, there it is. All right. That can't be it. I thought that was a small doorknob. All right, fool me. Here it is. All right, so we got a lever, probably off of what, a wing window of an old car or something like that, maybe some kind of valve. So we picked that out of the iron by just listening to all them iron tones until we got that high tone. When we backed up, it was repeatable. All right, I'm going to show y'all, just so you know what it sounds like, because I know y'all been listening to this iron through this whole video. I've used to discriminate, and I've turned off iron. So this is going to be mostly silent until you get something you want to dig. Now, as you get more advanced, you're probably always going to want to have iron on, but I'm just giving you the demonstration in case it helps you stay motivated. That's the key. If that iron bugs you in the beginning, go ahead and turn it off. And somewhere out here, I just passed a mid-tone, so you can hear, those blip. That's the machine trying to pull the audio down and pass the iron, and then when it resets, that's that blip you're hearing. So we got, it's mostly silent, and now I don't know where I got that mid-tone. I swear I got one out here somewhere. All right, there it is. So as you can hear, that is a mid-tone, not the high tone. So that's your zinc, lead, pull tab range, and rings. Rings fall into this category. Tree root or a rock. There we go. All right, let's narrow this down with the Pro Pointer. I'm telling you, if you're just beginning, you're gonna want one of these. All right. right, here we go. We got... All right, so this is a snap off of a jacket or jeans. Actually, no, I'll tell you what this is. This is the center cap for your cold water knob. All right, so for a real test of the machine, we have Michelle, who was gracious enough to let us hunt this home site. This is on her ranch. And so we gave her the same information I've already given y'all in the video, and she's been using the machine and she's already got a signal, and we're going to watch her pinpoint it, because remember I told y'all how important it is to pinpoint properly, and see if she can pull this off. So she's going to pinpoint and we're going to see what she found.
Okay.
Alright. So probably, yeah, right about there, yeah. So what you're going to do is just come a little bit behind it in case it is a coin. You don't want to spear it. I'll hold your machine.
How far?
A little bit farther, and then just pop your plug out.
Like that?
Yeah. And then you'll use the machine and check your plug if it's in there or if it's still in the hole. And
Yep.
still in the hole. So we'll go ahead and use the pin pointer to narrow this down. So she only missed it by just a little bit, so come back to here.
Hold that way.
And then take off that front edge of that hole. And then it should be in there. So whatever she found is in that plug. We're about to find out. Oh, I see it. Do you see it?
Oh, okay. Oh!
What have you found?
A top to a
jar. Another jar lid.
Yeah.
So now we check our hole to make sure there ain't a jar full of coins under that lid.
Oh!
That's
so what
only,
do you do?
That's
Just
only
do it
happened
again?
once in my lifetime, and Dusty's the one that found them. So
Oh, that thing went
there
up,
we
yeah.
go. All right, no jar of coins this
No jar
time,
of
but
coins.
we did successfully find this
Yay!
and recover it. All right, so we hunted with this machine, and then when we were done with that, we hunted with a Mind Lab Manicore, and Michelle hunted with this, and she did fine with it, and that was the first time she'd ever picked up a metal detector. She had to leave, so she didn't use it for very long. Let's look at everything we found. So from here over is the GoGonova. So we got cans, we got the water faucet, and we found some smaller stuff with it. And that's always a good sign. When you're getting smaller stuff, you know, your machine's decent. Now this is the Manicore. And the difference that you'll see here, and there's not much, it's just the nature of the site, is with the Manicore I didn't get fooled by the full-size cans as much. I only got the pieces, and you'll see we did get a little bit of smaller stuff, but it's basically the same junk. The place is real trashy. I only got 1 penny. I got some stuff from the United States Air Force, but this don't count because I eyeballed it. I mean, it counts, but if we're comparing metal detectors, this was just eyeballed. So Dusty found the other piece, another piece of that license plate. So it was 1953. So final thoughts: if you're wanting to get started and get started cheap, I mean, you really can't go wrong. It's 79 bucks, I believe, and then right now there's a 20% coupon I noticed on Amazon. Can it do what a Manicore can do? Of course not, but you're just starting out, so you may not need all this extra stuff. And one of the key takeaways here by looking at this stuff versus this stuff is it's location, location, location. You could take the Manicore to a place that's been pounded or where nothing has ever happened and you're not going to find anything. And you can turn around and take this to a undocumented battlefield that no one ever knew about and jump out, and every signal is going to be a Civil War relic. But for the most part, on these house sites and stuff, you're gonna have to dig out the trash first. Get it. You're gonna have to come back multiple times, dig it out, and then you can get the good stuff out from under it. So one other thing I wanted to mention that I forgot is don't get caught in the trap thinking the larger the cool, the better. Because when you're picking through that much trash, the smaller cool is better. Some of these machines that they're selling now are coming out with 11-inch cools. I doubt you're going to need that starting out, so stick with an 8-inch or smaller. And I did forget to mention, this is waterproof all the way up to the control housing. So this is a waterproof coil. So just keep that in mind, that you're going to be picking through the trash. And I hope this video has helped y'all out. One other thing I can tell you, if you really need help and you're stuck, seek out a local metal detecting club. Go to their meetings and get someone to help you, because I promise there will be somebody at a metal detecting club that will help you. So until next time, we'll see y'all in the next video.